What's up guys, this is Asfar, and today we're going to talk about brand messaging. When you want to create a marketing strategy for your business, brand messaging is the thing that you should always be at the center of your strategy. It's something that you can always refer back to and use as a point of reference. In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to find and create the best brand messaging for your business. I'm going to talk about what brand messaging is and why you need one. I'm also going to show you 3 different angles to look at your brand so you can find clarity. And then I'm going to walk you through an exercise to create your own unique brand messaging. We always get a lot of questions about branding from the people that we work with, so we thought we could make a video that would help other businesses and entrepreneurs out there. So get a pen and a piece of paper, or open up a Google Doc because you're going to want to write things down for this video. What is brand messaging? Basically, brand messaging is the underlying value proposition of your business and language that you use in your marketing, whether it's in your ad copy or creative or video or whatever. It's the message behind all of that. It's what inspires your future customers, it's what motivates them and helps them relate back to your brand, and it's ultimately what's going to convince them to want to buy your product or your service. Some of the bigger companies out there have a brand style guide, a very identifiable logo, and a tagline. Nike, Subway, Apple, Adidas, Levi's, and a lot more. A logo, a tagline, and a brand style guide, all these are part of a brand messaging. But brand messaging comes before all of that. And we're here to share with you an actual process and structure to help you figure this out. In the process that we use, there are 6 key things. There's the brand promise, the positioning statement, the target audience, the brand mission, the tone of voice, and the brand pillars. We'll come back to this later. First, let's talk about the 3 angles to look at your brand. Most people associate brand messaging with a logo or a tagline, and that's totally understandable when you're a customer. But if you're running your own business and you're doing your own marketing, and you're trying to figure out how to grow your business, you've got to do some groundwork first. And unless you're super creative, you're not going to be able to dream up a memorable logo or an award-winning tagline on the fly. You need to find clarity in your brand, and you got to look at it from these 3 different angles. The first angle is the customer angle. This is where you want to look at your customers and what they care about. Do you have any data that can tell you more about their pain points, or the reasons that matter to them before they buy your product, or the features that they actually like or dislike about your product? And there's a lot more you could consider, but those 3 things are already enough to help you get started. What you need to remember is that your brand messaging has to be customer-centric, which means that you need to really get inside the mind of your target audience. And if you know what a customer persona is and how to make one, this is the stage that you do it. Take your time to think this through before you get too far ahead in the exercise. The second one is the internal angle. This is an easier angle. You want to know how your brand looks like from the inside out. Let's say if you already have salespeople working for you, what do you find really resonates with your prospects in the sales process? Or if you're still soloing it in your business, what's your own vision for your own brand? Where do you want to see your brand go over the next year, the year after, and in 5 years? Every entrepreneur has thought about this, even if they've never written down. Take about 20 to 30 minutes and think this through. The third angle is the competitive angle. This is the one that a lot of people talk about when they're trying to find the USP of their business. So look at your marketplace, your industry, and your niche. Pick 2 to 3 people in your niche or 2 to 3 companies. Every brand out there is only going to have one message, and that message should be unique, and yours should be too. You don't want your potential customers out there to be confusing your brand with a competitor's just because your value propositions are too similar. By the way, there's no order to this. You can look at your competitive angle first, or your internal first, or your customers first, whichever is most clear to you. But if you have absolutely no idea where to start with, don't start with the competitive angle. Start with the customer angle. Okay, now we can go back to the 6 things that I mentioned earlier. Let's start building your actual brand messaging with a framework. The first step is the brand promise. This is where your catchy tagline would go. Basically, the brand promise is what you want your customers to remember about you. And your brand promise should convey what you actually do, what your customers can get from you, and your company vision. And it can be quite tough to summarize that into one tagline. And this is where most people will get stuck on. Be patient. Do the groundwork, do the research, draft out a few versions of your brand promise, and trust the process. Second step is the positioning statement. Your positioning statement basically defines where you fit in the marketplace or your niche. It basically expresses how your product or your service fills a specific need that your customer has in a way that your competitors just don't. It's sort of similar to a USP, but we find that for small businesses and new businesses, it's helpful that we break down the USP into different parts so that you can focus on each part when you think this through. Your positioning statement is going to guide both your internal messaging to your team and your company, and also the external messaging that you want to give out to your potential and actual customers. The third step is the target audience. Hopefully you've heard of this term before. It's important to keep your ideal customers and your buyers in mind when you do this exercise. Remember that your brand messaging is something that needs to resonate with their needs, their motivations, their interests, and their pain points. I recommend that you pick at least 3 different target audiences. Start with their demographics first, who they are, what they do for a living, then narrow down further. The fourth step is the brand mission. This is where you can come up with something grand and visionary. What do you want to accomplish? What's the ultimate goal for your business? What are the core beliefs that you've always had that guided you as you look to grow your business even further? This is going to be a bit different from your brand promise. Your brand mission is more abstract, whereas your brand promise is going to be something that's a bit more tangible, something that your potential customers can actually relate to, so don't get confused about the two. The fifth step is the tone of voice. This is going to be really important when you start hashing out ideas for your ad copy and creative. You want to define a tone for your brand so that you stay on point and consistent. Are you going for more of a fun and playful brand? That'd be great if you're targeting millennials, but if your audience is made up of C-level execs, maybe you want to go for a more serious tone and a more empowering tone. This is the stage that you want to compare your brand to different companies and different products, but look further. Look to different things like celebrities, songs, movies. If my brand were a celebrity, it would be. If my brand were a song or a movie, it would be. Don't be afraid to come up with different tones to start with. The more you compare, the more you draft out your ideas, the closer you are to getting a feel for a tone that would be most appropriate to your business. The sixth and the last step is the brand pillars. You'll need 3 things here. Take your brand promise, your brand positioning, and your brand mission. Then pick 3 of the most important selling points of your product or your service, and each point will be a brand pillar. Here's where you also want to refer back to the 3 angles that we talked about before: the customer angle, the internal angle, and the competitive angle. Put a key benefit statement of your product or your service under each of your brand pillars. Then put 3 supporting examples that demonstrate that benefit. The more specific you are with your examples, the easier it will be to come up with your ad copy and creative. Then your brand messaging is going to be something like a master marketing blueprint that you can always refer back to when you want to plan out your marketing strategy. Sure, your marketing strategy is going to change at every stage of your business, but you should use this framework to make sure that all of your ad copy and creative are consistent and that they all tie together back with your brand messaging. All right, that's all we have for this video. Here's a recap for you. We learned what brand messaging is and why it's important to have one. We also learned how to assess your brand and find clarity from 3 different angles: the customer angle, the internal angle, and the competitive angle. We also learned 6 things that you need to find and create your brand messaging: the brand promise, the positioning statement, the target audience, the brand mission, the tone of voice, and the brand pillars. If you do this exercise properly, it's going to help you create your brand messaging in a structured way. And once you create your I was like, get a bourbon, I didn't know it. And once you create your brand messaging, it's going to help your potential and actual customers to see your brand the way you want it to be seen. Let me know if you have any questions about brand messaging in the comments below. If you like this video, do share it with your friends and anyone you know who's stuck in the branding process. Maybe this video can help them find clarity. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and follow our page if you want to get more actionable and useful content on digital marketing that's going to help you kickstart your growth. I'm Asfar. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. That was a good take.